Hey, Lloyd Lofton here with Power Behind the Sales. I've got a topic I want to discuss with you. It came up. I just got done working with a client company going through their email templates and some of the messaging that they had, as well as a couple of emails that I had gotten. And so I thought this is really a great topic because we're all working virtually right now. And in working virtually, one of the ways we get in front of people is through emails. So I'm going to go through this little, I did it as a presentation, but I'm going to go through this little talk with you. And I just want to get your input on this. So you're either one or two people here, I'm guessing. So either you email market, right? You send emails out to people. And if you're like me, you send an email out, and every once in a while, you craft an email and you think to yourself, wow, I didn't know I was this smart, man. This is a great email. When people get this email, they're going to click and click and click. And man, I'm just going to be inundated with people that are interested in talking to me. And then you send it out, and of course, nobody's interested in talking to me. Or you're the one that sends an email and you're kind of like, hey, sounds interesting. I'm interested in knowing this. And you lay out pretty clearly what it is you're interested in knowing. And in laying out what you're interested in knowing, you wait for a response thinking they're going to give me the bullet points. 1, 2, 3. Here's what the answer is. And as they do that, they don't give you the answer. And so it's kind of frustrating because you're thinking to yourself, what is the matter with these people? Did I do something wrong? So I'm going to kind of look at that. Let me pop this up here. I call it 2 keys to keeping engagement after your email has been open. And the reason I did it after the email's been open is because it addresses either way, either you're sending the email out or you sent an email and they opened your email. So I'll tell you how I came about this topic. I recently received a marketing email. Now, this is from a list vendor. And while the email was formatted poorly, they clearly just copied and pasted it somewhere. So somebody wrote it up either in their marketing department or somebody used the email before, or it's in a Word document. They copied and pasted it, and the words just kind of ran together. So when they do that, when you copy and paste text from somewhere else, it keeps the old formatting if you don't choose the new formatting you're using. But the messaging, the copy, the wording was something I would read. And it addressed, just to kind of bottom line it for you, it addressed keeping an accurate, up-to-date prospecting, which happened to be what we were doing. We were getting ready to do a marketing campaign. Now, we have vendors that we use. We do it in-house. We're like a lot of people. This isn't our first rodeo. But it was kind of interesting. It is important to keep your data accurate. So your list has to stay current so that you don't get spammed and all these other things kind of go on. And you want your prospecting to be fresh. So it was something that we do in our business, and it's something that we use frequently. And the email indicated that this is the vendor, the people that sent me the email, that they had an ability to get a state list. So this is for licensed insurance agents, licensed financial advisors, but to get a state list with some numbered data on different type of lists. So, I mean, it seemed like pretty simple. We were putting together a campaign. So I thought, well, it never hurts to have another vendor. And we had a couple of vendors that we've used for a long time, WS Ponton and Target Leads and some others. We did some vendors we used for a long time. I trust them, but it doesn't hurt to have a backup vendor to have. So I thought, well, I'm going to respond back and just, kind of see what the list costs. So I use a number of different vendors. It's not a bad idea to have a backup of that. And sometimes the shipping of it is a little bit different. So you can cut a deal, or at least they become a little more attentive to you because you're a new customer. So anyway, so I thought I would try it out. Now, before I show you my response, before I show you what my response was to their email, remember, this is a lead vendor that emailed me. They said, hey, we have these lists you can buy. And I responded back to them. But I want to say that one of the things we do is we provide sales, marketing, and leadership training to companies and sales distribution. That's kind of like one of the big things we do. So in sales training, I always say that when you're building a business plan, this is what I tell salespeople all the time. You want to cover what a qualified prospect is. So this is what I tell salespeople all the time. Define who your most qualified prospect is. And to me, a qualified prospect is someone that is most likely to engage with you and then ultimately buy with you. And that way you spend your time with people that are most likely to buy with you. And when do you want them to buy? Well, you want them to buy now, right? I mean, you have to eat next quarter and you have to eat next year, but you send the email out, you do your marketing because you want them to buy now from you. So it helps to have an activity plan with a follow-up component to it so that those people you're marketing to can be your future clients. So keep that in mind. So I said, we have to, as salespeople, we have to make our money today, right? We got our bills we have to pay, but we got to eat next quarter. We got to eat next year. And it helps to know what type of prospect is most likely to buy from us. And our time is very valuable. So we don't want to spend our time with people that are less likely to buy from us. We want to spend our time with people that are more likely to buy with us. So here's my definition. And there's a reason why I'm showing you this. I'm not trying to sell you on this concept, but although it's a good concept. But here's my definition. And then we're going to look and see if I met this definition. So here's my definition of a qualified prospect. Number one, they recognize a problem exists. I mean, if they don't think they have a problem, they're probably not somebody you should spend a lot of time with. They're motivated to solve this problem. They might recognize they have a problem, but the problem is not uncomfortable enough that they're motivated to do anything about it. I don't know that I would spend an hour with somebody that isn't motivated to solve a problem they recognize they have. They feel like your product or service will solve the problem. I mean, who wants to spend an hour with somebody? They know they've got a problem, they're motivated to solve it, but it becomes clear in the conversation they just don't think that you, your company, or your product or service can solve the problem for them. They qualify for your product or service, whatever your qualification is. I mean, we've all done that. We've all spent an hour, 2 hours with somebody, and at the end of it, they don't have the authority to buy or they don't have the money to buy. And what a waste of time. They have the money, so they recognize they have a problem. They're motivated to solve the problem. They see that your product or service will solve the problem. They can qualify. And they have to have the money to purchase the product or service. I mean, what good does it do if they recognize they have a problem, they're motivated to solve the problem, they feel like that your product or service will solve the problem, they can qualify for it, but they don't got the money for it. And you've had that happen a ton of times, right? We all have. And then the next one is they're willing to spend the money to purchase the product or service to solve the problem. So they recognize they have a problem, they're motivated to solve that problem. Your product will solve their problem for them. They're qualified. They've got the money. They're willing to spend it. And the last part of it is they're willing to spend it today. So let's see. I'm going to show you the email strings. I haven't fudged anything. I'm going to show you exactly what was said back and forth. Let's see if I meet the definition of a qualified prospect. So in the comment section, just put what your comments are about this concept and whether you thought I met the qualified prospect or not. Now, I want to be honest with you. I fall into every category. But for a blind email approach, in other words, I don't know this company. I've never talked to them before. I've never interacted with them before. I just get a blind email, so they must have got me from a list or something. So at least to me, I provided some kind of indication that I had a problem. And I'm going to show you what I sent them. I provided some kind of information that I'm motivated to solve that problem. It clearly appeared to me that their service might be a fit because I'm actually asking buying questions. They don't know if I qualify. In other words, do I have the money or the authority to buy it? But they may be able to use my information to close me. by using a tie-down question in the response email. And I'll show you what the response email was. And I'm asking the question because I've spent the money in the past. That's a fact. I've told them I'm looking to do this in the future, so they can infer from that that I've got the money to spend again and that I'm willing to spend it because I'm looking for the price. And if the cost and the numbers they send back to me are a fit, then how do they know I won't spend it today? So I just think that I met the qualifications back here. So I think that I met the qualifications. Let me go back one more. I think I met these qualifications, but I'm gonna let you decide. So let me bring it up here. All right, so let me go back here. All right, I passed the list. So there's my email to them, all right? Sorry about that. It's not working as smoothly as I wanted to. All right, so here we go. All right. So yeah, here's my response. Here's my response to their email. So sorry, I messed that up there. So this is a blind email vendor who sends me an email, and I'm responding. I said, Beth, a list for email addresses in Georgia, Texas, North Carolina, Missouri, Iowa, Nevada, New York, and Florida. What would it cost? And a breakdown by state. So I think I'm being like pretty specific here. I think I'm giving some pretty good buying signals. How do you see my response? You just type in the message below and tell me how you think the response is. I'm specifying what I want. I want an email list. I'm specifying what states I want this email list from, right? I'm giving good information. I'm asking for a state-by-state breakdown. How many are on the list in each state? And it seems like a specific question, and I'm not sure you could get a better buying signal from somebody. So I think that I meet the qualifications pretty good. So let me ask you this. What response do you think I got from people? What response do you think I got from this person? Let me ask you this. Would you do this? Would you send a state-by-state breakdown based on my request? Then would you give me a total of each state while indicating that you can provide a price for specific states if I didn't need or want to spend the money on all of the states listed? In other words, did you respond to my email and say, okay, here's the list for each state. Here's what it would cost for each state. And if you buy all the states, here's what you can get it for. Because that's what I'm looking for. That's the information that I was seeking out. And then at the end of it, wouldn't it make sense to provide a call to action? Hey, if you'd like to get all the lists here, click here, make your payment, and here's how we deliver it for you. I mean, you would think there should be some kind of call to action, right? That's what I would do. So here's a response I got back. Now, I'm only providing part of it because it was a long list that the person sent me. It said, hi, Lloyd, what license type are you looking for? L&H, that's Life and Health, P&C, or registered representatives. I have a quick count for all independent L&H agents and a health select that I can share with you. Otherwise, I'll need to run some new accounts for you. Let me know. What? Why do I have to let this person know about? Now all of a sudden, and what happened is that this person gave me the list. That's why I just showed part of it here. They gave me the list for the whole country. That's why you see the totals here. They gave me the list for the whole country. The person sent me a breakdown of all 50 states. I only showed the first two. And aside from the question about license type, while relevant to her, it wasn't relevant to me. Is this what I asked for? Well, of course not. I asked for an email list. She provided with and without emails. Why would I want it without when I said I want an email list? I asked for specific states. She provided for the entire country. Like apparently she wants to create a debate about this or upsell me. I don't know why she couldn't just respond to my specific request. I asked for a count for the states I asked for. She provided a count for the entire country. And then she ended the email, best. Not any kind of call to action, but best. So here's my take. What a waste of my time. I mean, I already have vendors that I trust. I already have vendors that I use. I simply responded because I thought it doesn't hurt to have an extra vendor. Sometimes a new vendor, you get a good deal and you get a little special care because you're a new client. I didn't ask for every state, nor did I ask for a list without email addresses. I'm not interested in a license breakdown. That was something that she was interested in, although I understand her providing that. I don't care what the count is for the whole country. I'm not trying to market to the whole country. I have a specific project I'm working on with specific criteria, and that's why I made the request the way I made it. What would you have sent? In your mind, was her response about me or about the information she wanted to send me? Was she concerned about getting it wrong, providing enough information, providing the information I asked for, or providing the information she wanted me to have? Because I think she should have just sent me the information I asked for with a call to action, a link to make the purchase, or maybe a calendar to click to schedule a time to talk, to discuss it more. That's what would have made sense to me. So I thought, okay, don't be over judgmental. I know it sounds like I am now, but I really went through this with her, so I'm really irritated about it. I thought, okay, I'll give it one more try. And I sent this response. So for the states I listed, what would be the L&H email list run for the states I listed, right? So now I'm not asking for the cost, I'm asking for the run. For the life and health agents in the states I requested, what's the run? In other words, I just want the total. That's all I want is a total. So I've gone from giving her very specific list that I want in specific states, and I want the breakdown and the cost, which to me is a really clear buying signal. And now I pulled back on the cost and I'm saying, just give me the run. Because now I'm not even sure I'm going to do business with it. If it's this difficult to just get a count and a price up front, I'm not sure I'm going to do business with it. So I wanted the count for the entire state, but since you broke it down by license type, I'll see what a specific type would be. I might have bought the whole list, but since the type was brought up, let's see what the breakdown is. In other words, I might have bought the list for PNC and everybody else. I do training for everybody. At this point, I'm not confident I'll get the information that I wanted, since my first request seemed specific and she couldn't or wouldn't provide it. I'm busy with a bunch of other projects. Getting a list from a new vendor wasn't high on my radar list, but when it came into my view, I thought I'll get a quick number. If her numbers were in line with my budget, there's no harm in having that other vendor. I might have gone ahead and done it. That was my thinking. Let me know if you think my thinking was reasonable or unreasonable. And here's what I got back. You ready? Hi, Lloyd. All right, great. I'm glad you're looking for L&H agents, as we didn't have to wait for new count. I already had them to hand. To order an email records for a 1-year unlimited use for 177,101 email, the cost is, I limited the cost there because it's not relevant to this. To do a one-time email blast to all blah, blah, blah records, the cost is, if you prepay for 4 or more email blasts, you get 10% discount on all email blasts. I'm like, oh my God. If you prepay for 8 or more email blasts, you get a 15% discount on all email blasts. I just asked for a list. I'm just looking to buy a list. Email blast pricing does not include artwork. New artwork from scratch is $200. Changing existing artwork is $100. Basic landing page is $100. Custom landing page needs to be quoted best. Oh my gosh. So, hey, what is a list of licensed agents and reps in these states cost? And this is what I get back. I mean, it should be easy to do business with somebody. And I get upselling. So let me go back to the beginning. I'm receiving an unsolicited email. I didn't ask for this email from a company that I haven't heard from before. I asked for a specific list in specific states with a specific count by state and the cost. Now I'm looking at a one-time blast, prepay for 4 or more, prepay for 8 or more, email blasts, and artwork, new artwork, landing pages, custom landing pages needed to be quoted. And people wonder 2 things. They wonder, why don't you get a response to your emails? And they wonder, why do prospects say, I want to think about it? My gosh, I told you what I wanted, what I was willing to spend my money on, and you give me all this to think on, and then wonder why you don't get business. I thought my first response was pretty good. Beth, for a list with email addresses in Georgia, Texas, North Carolina, Missouri, Iowa, Nevada, New York, and Florida, what would it cost? And a breakdown by state. I thought it was pretty simple. A response to that was, hey, thanks for reaching out. Here's what a list of licensed agents would cost in Georgia, Texas, North Carolina, Missouri, Iowa, Nevada, New York, and Florida. Here's the breakdown by state. Here's what the cost would be if you buy all the lists. Click here if you'd like to purchase all the lists. Click here if you'd like to talk about getting different prices. Here's some other services we offer, and then you can list out the other services you offer. I might have clicked, bought the list, and boom, you made some money right off the get-go. So, if you usually it costs you about $110 per thousand. So that's $1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, $800,000 that was just thrown out the window because I couldn't get an answer to my question. And I know I'm sounding, my tone of voice and everything, I'm sounding irritated about it now. I just think it's funny. I think it's real funny because we're all working virtually. And the goal today is to build relationships. The goal today is to align ourselves with our prospects. The goal today is for our prospects to see us as a resource now and in the future. That's the purpose of marketing. You see, I didn't get back what I asked for. So I responded again, trying to be more specific. And what I got back to me was a reason to not make a buying decision. We do our own email blasts. We utilize an in-house process, and we have our own vendors. I just wanted a list. That's all I wanted. The biggest objections salespeople get, I hear this all the time, is I want to think about it. And I always tell them the reason you hear this in most presentations is you gave them something to think about. This lady's probably a very nice lady. I've since researched them, and they're a good company. But I already have vendors I work with, and I'm not unhappy with them. I ask a simple question. All they had to do is provide the requested information, and I buy. That's a simple process. But over and over and over, I see messaging goes out that puts the onus on the prospect to do something to get to make the purchase. Emails like, hey, if you have any more questions, let me know. Like, I have to reach out to you. How about click here to get your questions answered? With a calendar pops up and I can schedule a time. Well, people don't want to talk to somebody. How about click here to get your question answered and pop up with a text box? I type my question in and you use a bot to answer me back. I'm just saying, this is 2021, almost 2022. You see, my 2 keys to keeping engagement after you email market is open is people ask from their talk from their frame of reference, and people hear from their frame of reference. Answer the question they ask. Don't just provide information that you want them to have. And it's okay for people to buy for their reason. They don't have to buy for our reasons. I was really doing a very simple thing here. I don't know that I would have bought. I don't know if the price was good or not good. I might even be interested in all the other services that the person offered. But it was just a put off that I couldn't get the answers to the simple what I felt like were the simple questions I was asking. Now, here's the other thing too. Oftentimes, the way we talk is different than the way people read. So I get emails where thoughts are run together. Hey, thanks for requesting the information. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm going to attach. And they put all that like almost a running sentence instead of separating it out. So if you're offering different ideas, separate them out into a new paragraph, even if the paragraph is just one sentence long. And then give me an easy way to do business with you. Give your prospects an easy way to do business with you. Whether it is, click here to send us your answer or your question, and then a pre-populated email pops up, and all they have to do is click send. Click here and a text box pops up and they can type their question in. Click here and a calendar pops up and they can schedule a time. Give them an easy way to do business for you. Because here's what happens. I'm down here in my office usually between 6:30 and 7 in the morning. So I'll get an email that comes in at 7, but I've got projects I'm working on, and maybe I look at my emails right at 7 o'clock. Then I get involved in a project and I don't check my emails again until 8:30. And between 7 and 8:30, I've gotten 10 emails. Now, because I have other things going on, or one or two of those emails that I see require me to do something, I reply to that and another email comes in. Then I've got a phone call. Then I've got a webinar. Then I've got another thing going on. And the next thing that you know, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And between 9 o'clock or 9:30 and 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I've got maybe 30 other emails. In order for me to see your email, I've got to scroll down all the way down to when I first sat down at my desk to see the email. So I like to schedule my emails to go out at 3 different times over 3 different days. So the best chance for those emails to get in front of you. So it's not just the messaging in our email marketing that has to be congruent with what we want people to do. It's the time and day that we get, the way we get in front of our prospects. So I just want you to give me some of your comments about what you thought about this process, and if you've ever had this experience before. And we'll be looking at more of these as we go forward in the future. Hey, thanks for being on here today. If you're on the YouTube channel, make sure that you click that little alarm clock there so you get notified every time a video goes up. Like it. Just click on the like button. If you're on the Facebook group, click on the like button and tell me a story. Tell me what experience you've had with an email that you either sent or you got. And if you're on LinkedIn, I always answer any of the comments that are on there. Hey, take care. I'll see you on the next call. Bye.